I am Brent Feldman, and this is another episode of Mix and Matchbox. Today, I am joined by Doug Belleville of STL Beds. He is the owner of STL Beds, and he is here to join us to talk about basically a great conversation in customer service. So, hi, Doug. How are you doing?
Real good, Brent. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for joining me. Definitely looking forward to getting into this. And you guys have some amazing Google reviews, and we certainly know of many stories as you've been our client for a little while now, and we appreciate that anyway. And certainly we know of lots of sort of great not only testimonials but little tidbits here and there about how people really enjoy your customer service. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking about all this stuff.
I appreciate it. I was actually kind of shocked when you reached out to me. It was I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So it's something you don't really think about every day, but you do, and it's been kind of fun to focus on it. When you told me to think about this, and so here we are.
Yeah, awesome. Well, cool. I'll jump right into the questions. And this is cool because like you're part of a long-standing family business. What sort of lessons of customer service or customer relationships do you think you learned from your father?
Yeah, I think the key word there is relationships. Those relationships really need to be developed, and one of the best ways to really establish good relationships is, in my opinion, is just listening to the customer. I think you probably can relate to that. But listening to customers isn't just about, their complaints and their problems. It's more than picking up the phone, before the first or second ring. It's not about someone answering that little ringing bell at a service desk. I think those are the kind of things that always seem to come to mind when it comes to customer service. To me, what I think it's about your staff really taking the time to listen to your customers and really connecting with them. And I don't know, everyone wants to be heard. They really do. And if you pay close attention, you can learn their needs and their understanding, and in the end, you're going to help them achieve their purchasing goals. What they're there to do, and that whole relationship develops into customer loyalty,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to earn that. And it's an emotional connection. Loyalty is more than just good prices and what's the other word? I guess and good quality.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a lot more than that. I have a kind of a funny little story about listening. Do you listen to your wife, Brent?
Yes.
Yes.
The wrong answer would be anything else.
A long time ago, it goes back to like 1993. I was working for a mattress store, and I was working for a fella. He was my manager, and I was working with a customer out across the showroom, and he's kind of listening like managers do across the room. And the lady's she's shopping a really expensive Beauty Sleep mattress. I mean, this thing was, back in the day, it was $2,500, $3,000. This was a lot of money. And at that same time, mattresses were getting really, really thick, and you needed special sheets for these things. And the sheet industry really wasn't keeping up with the mattress industry. So as a salesperson, it was a big deal when somebody asked the question, well, that mattress looks pretty thick, can I get sheets to fit that? And so all of a sudden you kind of go into defensive mode. And I was listening to the question, and she says, where can I get sheets for that? And so right away I said, oh, well, you don't really have to go out and get special sheets. What you can do, you can get deep pocket sheets. I said, but if you already have queen size sheets. And she tells me yes. And I said, well, all you have to do is buy these things called sheet straps, and they look like little garter clips, and you clip them on the sheet and you flip them under, and $10-15, boom, you keep everything that matches and coordinates with your set. This went on like 2 or 3 times that she asked me this, and next thing you know, my manager from across the room says, "Hey, Doug, are you going to answer her question? Or are you just going to keep trying to tell the lady she needs sheet straps?" So, it's one of those things where I wasn't really listening, but it was kind of an aha moment. And so at that point in time, I told her, well, yeah, you can get sheet straps at Kohl's or a Bed Bath Beyond or wherever it was. But yes, you can also use sheet straps, So
Yeah.
I think listening, and developing that relationship and that loyalty. I think that's probably what I learned from my dad, is that being able to listen and learn.
That's cool. That's neat. And I actually, I think I mentioned you like off of this podcast, obviously. But that my dad was, he had a business for a long time, and I had model some of the things that he was doing in order to learn and get acquainted with. And anyway, and so yeah, I couldn't, oh my gosh, endorse that thing of just like good, kind of active listening, and make sure that you can, that you're really paying attention, as opposed to like, guiding the conversation where you want it to, or like, know, but really just taking it all in. People care, and they care, and they know when you're listening too.
Yeah.
So what does customer experience mean to you, and why is that, sort of more important than just getting more business?
Well, getting more business is the fun part. But, I just be frank, I think it really goes right back to that emotional connection. If you truly love your job, then everything you do at that job is going to be done with passion, and it's going to be done with strong conviction. And I know I really get emotionally involved. Do you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I really do. Thoughts about what I could do or what I should have done, they always cross my mind. I mean, I'm sure you can relate. And it's probably just kind of, for me, it's just kind of one of those ongoing thought processes, and it doesn't just go away because the clock, you're clocking out at 6 o'clock. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't think you have to be just a business owner. I just think you have to be fully invested in your job and what you do and what you love. I relive those sales opportunities. I relive when that customer walks out the door. I relive them when I'm sleeping.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know the dreams about them.
Are they nightmares? Or are they dreams? So yeah. What our tagline is, don't you? We deliver dreams.
Right. Yeah. Which is amazing.
Yes, isn't it? So
is that is that trademarked?
No, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, but actually that tagline came from listening. Funny little story there. UPS guy walks in the door, and he's I say, "Hey, what's going on?" And I said, "What you doing?" He said, "Oh, delivering dreams." He says, "Delivering dreams." And there it was. And wow. I said, I'm gonna box that up, and
he just served it right up to you.
He did.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess as you, have definitely probably seen some of this, what are some hallmarks of bad customer service, and, how do they continue, even though, kind of, we know they're bad. And I mean, like, this could result in, like, obviously, managers and how this happens, this may be kind of deep in answering this, but we've all have been witness to really bad customer service. But yeah, why does it still happen?
You could create an entire podcast on this very topic. I thought this was about customer service. Gotcha. For me, I took what was my biggest weakness and I just turned it into my greatest strength. And, again, it's right back to that listening. It just boils down to listening to your customer. And I repeat that. But I think it's one of the worst things you see people, one of the worst habits is that they don't listen. They try to hurry up and get on to the next customer, or any number of excuses that are distracting. And I think if you listen and you truly care, then you can start showing empathy, and you can start making that connection. And so it's that emotional connection again. It takes place for both the customer and the service provider, and I don't know. I think that's it's pretty deep. I mean, there's so many things that you could just pick apart in customer service, how they greeted you, or how they, maybe the inflection in their voice on a phone call, or,
Yeah. I mean, it could be a billion things, theoretically, but I mean, I do really appreciate that, like, listening is still one of those, like, important things that if they didn't get that right at the end of the day, that's going to sour the whole thing.
I have one that kind of gets me, and I hadn't really thought about this till now, but I can't stand, and maybe I'm probably doing it now, but it's the
I've rewatched my podcasts. They say that it's natural,
right. Exactly. But I think when you go back and you relive those moments, as we just discussed in the last question, you start realizing, oh, I made one of those bad mistakes, and maybe it wasn't a horrible mistake, but we can always be refining.
Definitely. That is so true. Because there's always things to learn from. And I definitely think especially in, like, as you have customer service experiences, whether they're good or bad, like making sure that, you keep tally of the things, that were positive and negative, because if you don't learn from those things, then obviously you can't do better the next time. So I agree. Yeah. Teaching people how to treat customers like you do isn't easy. And I'm gauging this a lot on, a lot of the feedback I see through Google reviews, which, tend to, like, rave about the interactions that they had with you. But what are ways that you convey, your sort of the importance of treating people, sort of with respect and integrity? Like, how do you culminate that?
Oh, so you're not talking about how I treat you?
No, of course,
no, absolutely not. Okay. I don't think you can teach that. I really don't. I think, I was prepared for that question. I don't know if you know that or not.
Oh, good.
And this is my old wallet that I used to carry around. And inside that wallet, there's not a lot of money, but there is this little piece of paper right here. And I don't know if you can see if there's anything even left of it here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know where the rest of it is, but that piece of paper was part of a little purple 6-inch ruler that I got at church many years ago. And on that was a copy of the Golden Rule. And, for people don't really know what the Golden Rule is, it's that moral principle that says, that you should treat others the way you want to be treated, and I don't think you can teach people to care about other people. I think that's one of those things that has to kind of come naturally. But you can help them refine, and you can teach them how to convey and to articulate, and we talk voice inflection, looking them in the eye. There's so many ways that you can help people communicate better. But
Mhm.
I don't know that you can teach them uh, how to treat people. I think I can't remember who the guy is. There's a guy that he's done all kinds of talks and stuff on that type of thing, and I wished I would have researched that before we had this conversation. But you know, I think it goes back to hiring the right people, and you know, so you've got that perfect person, and we all know that people aren't perfect, but we can all learn from each other, and if they have weaknesses when they're teaching people about my mattresses and trying to match up that perfect customer with the perfect mattress, that they not only listen to those questions but also listen to the answers and ask the right questions of that customer.
Yeah.
uh, so uh, yeah, I think I think I don't think you can teach it, but I think you can and maybe lead, you know, lead by example. Maybe
Cool.
that's I don't, you know me, Brent. I don't really fall by a rule book, you know.
Mhm.
um, we kind of talked about this in the past, and it's maybe one of my weaknesses, but it's also probably my greatest strength. You know, so I think I don't think you can teach it, but I think you can assist with good people that have good ethics and generally care about other people
Yeah, definitely.
and care about their jobs. You know.
For sure. So somebody gave me a word the other day, which I never really applied in this fashion, but sincerity. You know, and
Yeah.
yeah, and it really struck me because like literally I had never thought about it, you know, in that kind of capacity of like the general, you know, the honesty or candor that sometimes you have when speaking with people about, you know, especially when you care, it can fall flat. And especially I'm sure that there's plenty of like salespeople that, you know, you've had those interactions with where you're like, I know you're trying to sell me at the end of the day. I know this is part of like, you know, the speech or the spiel. I know, you know, like you can just hear it. Oh, okay, cool. This is the thing you got going on, or this is the discount of the week, you know. But sincerity, you know, it really hit me. And I was like, yeah, you know that somebody's actually telling you the truth. They care, you know, at the end of the day. And anyway, just yeah, it got me.
You just taught me something. That was a word I was looking for when I was thinking about this. And sincerity. You don't want a chameleon. You know, you mentioned a couple examples there. You know, the car salesman, and you just know they're trying to reach in your back pocket. You know,
They would literally just take the money if they could.
yeah, yeah. And when we just skip this whole process, you
Uh-huh.
know. So yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, and I know I've touched on it quite a few times, but you have an amazing Google rating. But what are some of the most meaningful reviews? Like, I'm sure that, you know, people have told you, hey, customer service is great, but what are the ones that you're like, oh, dang, that that hits you in the feels?
Yeah, for me, it's the most mirror reviews that I can recall are really the ones that are critical of my products, that are critical of my employees, they're critical of my business, my customer service, me. I mean, I could go on and on and on. You just, you know, you have to read through the paragraph or whatever the sentence that they've wrote, and hopefully you can fill in those blanks. But you know, it's fine to get a 5-star review, don't get me wrong. I really like those. I'm kind of a bit of an egomaniac a little bit, you know, and you always like to hear people say good things about you. You know, it's fun, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know, should we assume that a 5-star review means you're perfect? I don't think so. You know, you can learn a lot even from a 5-star review. It doesn't have to stop there. For me, you know, I try to learn from my mistakes, and I like to look at the negative reviews.
Hmm.
You know, like a 1 or a 2-star review. Uh, they're a gold mine. I mean, they really are. We can discover our shortcomings, our failures, and learn all kinds of things from those critiques. There was I don't know if I can do this. I pulled this up. See if I can do it while I've got you here.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one review in particular that just, here it is. So I'll read you just a quick little review this fella left me, and there, you know how Google does the reviews of pros and cons.
Yeah.
So it says here, pros. I gotta slip my glasses on here so I can see.
All good.
By the way, this was a 4-star review, just so you know. Pros, probably the widest selection of different mattress types in St. Louis, from latex to foam to spring to hybrid. Owner Doug, in parentheses, is knowledgeable and eager to help you. Cons, you sitting down?
Yep.
Here we go. Really difficult to have a straightforward conversation with Doug about mattress quality. He loves to talk about how a mattress is handmade, regarded as luxurious, capable of withstanding forces of hydraulic press, made of organic material, etc. I don't see how any of these factoids is supposed to help me judge the comfort or material of a quality mattress. I asked Doug to educate me about the foam density and the spring count of his mattresses, but he would not give me specifics. He just could not stop talking about how many pounds of wool there was in the mattress cover. Ultimately got fed up and bought my mattress elsewhere.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember this guy, and I have learned from that review so many things. I would say if you asked me, you know, if we were sitting here and I could have a conversation with him and I could have a redo, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I did that at all. I pushed the factoids because that's what he wanted to know. But in the end, he was just looking for a comfortable mattress, and I couldn't get him to lay on it.
Uh-huh.
So we had this disconnect from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But how I still manage a 4-star review, and I mean, I think I took it on the chin there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, obviously they could have said a lot worse. You know me.
Yeah, definitely. But that's a great lesson. And I mean, like, I don't know about you, but I mean, like, I assume you appreciate when people leave you that kind of detailed feedback, because you know, it sucks to the worst ones are the 1-star, no comment. You're like, really? Get out of here. It's like, I'm not learning anything. You're just being rude. But like, you know, when they leave you that kind of commentary, is it helpful? You know?
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I think but it is a gold mine. Just going right back to what I said, it's a gold mine, and you can, yeah, it might have cost you a big sale, but how many more sales are you going to get because you're doing what we were talking about earlier? You know what? I wasn't connecting with this guy. Everything that I've been sitting here telling you for the last however many minutes, I didn't achieve with him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, so and so I keep trying to get better and better and better at it, and I think I am, but I'm getting older and I'm going to start losing my touch. So I might have to retire one of these days. So
But no, that's cool. I mean, like, it just like the fact that, like, you know, like, as we're having this conversation, I'm here having this podcast with you because I look to you as a person who's provided a lot of people with a lot of great customer service. But that doesn't mean, you know, just like you said, like, you know, the 5-star means, you know, means you're perfect. No, you know, there's still a lot to learn. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Cool. So going the distance for some, you know, for customers can be the easy part sometimes. How do you establish limits on making things right for the customer? You know, the old adage of the customer is always right. Some people are just a pain in the butt. So how do you where do you draw the line?
I can't tell you how many times I've been criticized for this one. You know, I mean, look, you and I have worked together for years now, and you know, we've had some big things that come up that are unexpected, And and you have personally done that for me. You have went out there and you have made these things happen, and sometimes at the cost of your time and your expense, and I appreciate that, and I have never forgotten that.
Oh,
But it really is hard to turn away a customer when you have so much time invested in them. Wouldn't you agree?
yeah,
Uh, you
absolutely.
know, um, I'm still learning how not to allow customers to waste my time. I think that's an ongoing process?
Oh,
I
yeah, actually, yeah, I'm still learning that lesson myself.
Yeah, yeah. When I was thinking about, when I was thinking about this question, I was like, man, I have not perfected this one. Um, I'm still learning how to cultivate those meaningful relationships, and sometimes you get tire kickers, and I, I want loyal customers with meaningful relationships that will pay the bills and send more customers in. And I honestly do, at the end of the day, it's one of your favorite words, but I love to see customers come back and tell me what what a great mattress it was, or how it didn't solve their back problem, but boy, they got some level of improvement. Um, yeah, I think,
Cool. Yeah,
yeah, I
I,
think,
I, it's hard. I know, and it's hard to draw those limits, but that's what you work for. Those experiences where you're like, oh, that's cool. It really made a difference for them, or they really care. But yeah, I talked to somebody on the phone, today for a solid 30 minutes. We were definitely really apart on budget, and maybe we might not be able to help. And I think it's tough because it's one of those, the innate desire to help. You want to
yeah,
be informative, you want to but yeah, like you also have to, just like you said, be cognizant of your time, because if you're not, obviously that can lead you away from your business goals and all those other things. But it's really tough. And I think that maybe that comes down to that sincerity thing, and like just really being
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
I know you do it, and I know that I'm trying to come across that way as well. That it's not that I try; it's just I do it, and the end result is, I think in the end, the customer comes back to you and says, thanks for taking the time. Because I called 3 places, they didn't even return my phone call.
Hmm.
It's things like that, and thanks for taking so much time and helping me through this problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even turn into sales.
Hmm.
But and what's really neat is you'll see a couple reviews out there, heading back to the review thing, but people have actually went out there and left us a review just on the customer service, even though they didn't buy something,
Wow.
and said, they helped me through this problem, and sent me another place, or told me this wouldn't work. And in the end, what it does is it cultivates new customers, because they maybe customers are reading through the reviews, and, hey, I called this guy and he didn't even end up selling me anything, but he spent 30 minutes with me on the phone. And so, was that really a waste of time? And sometimes it's not, but you have to draw that fine line. And I, I, there's a difference between the needy, I'm not, I don't know if I'm using the right word there. But you got some people, they just want to be on the phone, and they need somebody to coddle them. And
Hmm.
and I can't, I can do that to a degree, because I am empathetic, but in the end, I am there to do business. So
Hmm. Yeah. I can help you this far, but
yeah,
yeah,
I'm kind, maybe it's more like, help me help you,
yeah, uh-huh.
and if they can do that, we're going to get them some kind of answer. And hopefully the answer is something that is a service or a product that I provide.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Cool. Um, are there any other people that you think you admire, you kind of hold up for the way they treat people that have maybe inspired your actions?
Yeah, this one's really easy for me. My grandma Belleville, she passed away many years ago, but that was a person that I just liked the way she treated people. I liked the way she treated me. She carried herself well. She was polite. She was when she was younger, she worked. But she was a successful housewife and mother too. It doesn't have to necessarily be somebody in business. I have lots of role models in business that I've turned to for advice and guidance and things like that. My parents were not, if you, a lot of parents like today sometimes maybe help their kid do their kids' homework. My mom and dad always made me work through it. It was not easy. It was not easy, and I guess maybe that's part of what's made me successful is that, I'm able to kind of work through those problems and figure it out for myself. And I'm not afraid to have somebody help me or try to find somebody that's done it before. But a guy told me one time, he says, ask somebody that's already done it before. Mm-hmm. He goes, and learn. He goes, why should you make that same mistake? He said, if they've made it, they can keep you from making that very same mistake. And in business, I can't tell you how many thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands it's probably saved me in financial mistakes. Mm-hmm. By just having my wife's father, he was a successful businessman. I went to him for advice. There was a fellow that was very successful at my church that I went to him for questions all the time. He became a customer, a very close friend. So there are lots of people that I look up to, for example, but the one that really comes to me is my grandmother, just because, just good people. Yeah. I think good people, it goes back to that golden rule, and they actually treated people just the way they wanted to be treated. And my father a little bit. He unfortunately kind of retired about the same time we started doing this, but he is just a good guy. And I still have people coming into this day mm-hmm. asking, how's your dad? And, just because he developed those relationships over the years, and those meant something to those people enough that they still ask about him, so.
Yeah, totally. That's super cool. By the way, I have the same sort of reverence for my father and grandmother as well,
Yeah.
And if you're going to take lessons from somebody who are just like, they're just good people, as you said.
Yeah. They come from a time where, it's, and I'm not saying there isn't good people out here. I've got one working for me right now. I mm-hmm. mean, Michael, kid's 23 years old, and he's way beyond his years. He just cares about my business. He cares mm-hmm. about people. He's empathetic. I think we just get old and cranky, and then when we find somebody that doesn't do it the way we want it done, then don't do it like I used to.
So that's no, definitely. And Michael he's a good dude too. By the way, I don't want to leave my mom out. My mom is great. I just, yeah, I know. I know. I talked about like my dad, my great, but anyway, it is cool. It's neat watching and observing and seeing how people do stuff. And that leads to lessons in maybe unspoken ways too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe what are some of the ways that you use to get people to open up and disarm?
Do I even have to answer this question?
You being you.
Yeah. Come on, look at me. I've already disarmed you, man. In a couple hours, you'll be laying on the sofa and you'll be telling me your life story, I don't know, humor. For me, it's just I like to have fun. I like my customers to have fun. Sleep is fun. everything we do in mattresses is fun. Yeah.
Mm.
So I love to just have a good old fashioned conversation with my customers. And sometimes it gets way off topic. That's never happened to us, has it, Brent?
No, never.
No, never.
Yeah, not about Jeeps or anything. No,
No, nothing.
nope.
But yeah, it's that. It's
That's
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Humor, I feel like is like an number one way to to somebody's heart generally. There you go. I know exactly. You'll have to do the plug for it at the end of it. We haven't ever made time for that specific. Here we go. Yeah. All right. Well, have there been any customers that you couldn't make happy at the end of the day? I know you kind of give us the one story about that Google review, and you've already mentioned that obviously sometimes these you end up reliving them, which I totally know what you mean. But is there like one customer story you're like, ugh?
Oh, I wasn't gonna tell it, but
Please.
yeah, actually, there's been hundreds.
Mhm.
The old saying that customers always right. We've had this conversation, and um, it's not about proving that I'm right either. It's about getting to a common ground, right? And there's been hundreds of customers that I've failed with. But yeah, I actually had one customer, and it was this particular customer was a food critic.
Mm.
And they had bought a particular mattress, full size for her and a full size for her husband. They had, two different mattresses for two different rooms. By the way, these mattresses were really good mattresses, and I've never had a problem with these mattresses, never. And she had them a total of 2 weeks, maybe something like that, and had called me up and says, Doug, this mattress, it's not supporting me the way you said it would, and it's not living up to the hype of what you're advertising, and blah blah blah, and just goes on. And she goes on to tell me that the body indentation in this bed is so bad that literally for her to get out of bed, she needs to be pulled out of the bed with a tow truck. Those were her exact words. I need a tow truck to pull me out of the bed. And then, so I'm thinking, wow, maybe it was some defective material, because this is sounding horrible, and I'm letting her tell me the problem, that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm going to figure out how to get a result here and make it right. Well, then she goes on to tell me her husband's bed is doing the exact same thing. That's what I said. I said, well, go ahead and send me pictures. And we went through the process. And she sent me the pictures, and the mattresses both looked brand new. I mean, you could put a straight edge across the bed and you would not see the concave impression that she's claiming that's in this thing. Well, I called her up and I said, I got your pictures. I appreciate you sending them to me. And we talked about a few things. I said, but am I missing some photos? And she said, no, they're all there. And I said, well, you had mentioned that the mattress, was so bad that it had such an impression in it that, it took a tow truck to get you out of it. And she said, well, I might have been stretching the truth a little bit. And I said, well, why would you do that? I was like, I have to go to the manufacturer and describe exactly what's going on. They're in Rock Island, Illinois. You're basically across the country. And I said, I have to send them these pictures, and you're telling me one thing, but the pictures are telling me another. And in the end, what this particular customer wanted, because we said, well, we realized that we were in an impasse. And so we had just decided we were going to donate the mattresses. And in the end, she asked for a discount. So what she really didn't want to do was pay the price of the mattresses for what we sold them for. In the beginning, everything was fair and she was paying a fair price, but she wanted to wait until she had the mattresses and they were across the country and there was, $400 or $500 shipping each way involved. And then she had me, she had control of me. Oh. And I in the end, I I took care of the deal. I'll just say that we took care of the deal and we resolved it. But I knew I was being taken to the cleaners on that one. And there's smaller deals out there, but this was two very nice mattresses, and they went basically to Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, the boxes alone were nearly $50 a box. So there was $200 in boxes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and would I like to have that over to do again? Sure.
Yeah.
But, maybe there was some warning sign when I initially sold her those beds that maybe, because a lot of times we're not afraid to walk away from a deal.
Yeah.
We're not. And maybe that's one of those that I should have saw some sign and missed it. And in the end, it cost me a lot of time, cost me a lot of money. And like you said, probably the one that just goes in my mind over and over again. What could I have done differently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you get those people. All right. Well, I asked the question. There it is. Now you laid it bare. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. This is the last one I got for you, but are there any small things you wish more people would do to make their customer experience better? I know we've talked about listening, but you mentioned greet it at the front door. Are there any like small niceties you go, wow, that made a big difference?
Oh, well, I took that question a little bit differently, huh?
Oh, well, maybe if you answer it the way I said it, and
let's just see how it goes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna wing
it. It's not the small thing. To me, it's a huge thing. And especially considering the amount of money that these people are spending. Mattresses are not cheap. You are building my website. You've built my website. You maintain my website and been doing it for several years now. And the one thing that just absolutely drives me nuts is that the customer needs to realize their job. And their job is to take their shopping experience more serious. I think they have a responsibility. And, I mentioned to you in the past about, I don't consider myself a salesperson. I consider myself a teacher. Mm-hmm. So what I like to do is teach people about beds. And unfortunately, most of these people don't, they just see a big white rectangle, and that one's $2,000, that one's $1,000, that one's $500. Well, that's the cheapest one. I'll take that one. Well, what are you going to use it for? Well, I want to use that thing every day. Well, are you the one that's going to be using it? I am. And I'm not a small person. Yeah. 350 pounds. That's not going to, that $500 mattress is designed for a spare bedroom, occasional use, not every day, 7 days a week by a plus size individual. And so, I guess we need to educate them. And this kind of brought to mind a story for me. Did you ever see The Matrix?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One of my favorites.
Yeah, for people who don't know The Matrix, it's about this fictitious world that the computers are running, right? And you got, what is it, the blue pill and the red pill? Mm-hmm. And Morpheus gives Neo the choice of the two, and he takes the red pill, right? Uh-huh. And so he gets to see the reality of the real world, the machines that are running the world. He doesn't get to see this utopia that the computers have created, right? And I kind of feel like Morpheus sometimes, man. Like, because they really just see these beautiful square rectangular mattresses, but then when you start going from store to store, you start seeing you start seeing the hype, you
see how the sausage is made.
It's true though. It really is true. So yeah. And I'll tell you the other thing. I'm gonna just fast forward here. Test resting mattresses. It's a little thing, but it's huge, and they're about to spend a ton of money. And when they come into my showroom, I can't get them to lay on the bed. Uh-huh. I can't get them to lay on the bed. This is something they're going to spend literally a third of their life in, 8 hours a night, right? 24 hours a day. My math's not the best, but help me out here, Brent. You're a
Oh
little smart.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. That I mean, like, and it's interesting, and it's funny. Like, I don't know why it hit me until just a second ago about like educating people and the price of a mattress. Somebody might go to Best Buy and spend $3,000 on a TV or something like that, and like, oh yeah, one of the biggest and the best. But it's like they comes to that mattress and they're like, I don't know, and you're like, wait. What's more important in your life? Like, watching a movie every once in a while on this amazing TV, or really where you sleep.
I actually have that exact story. I need to write a book.
You do. You do.
I do. The book will be good, especially the waterbed chapter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I had a fella. He had serious back pain, serious back problems, surgeries, all this kind of stuff. He's looking at a $2,500 mattress. He had just got done telling me that he spent $5,000 on a plasma TV back when they were $5,000, and he's not going to spend this $2,500 on this mattress. He ends up spending $900 on a mattress he absolutely hated. He can't hardly get out of the bed when he's test resting it. He's wincing, with every time he turned in the mattress. And I asked him, I said, I hope that's a really good TV. Because when the lights are off, the only thing that you're gonna remember is that mattress. And yeah, he I think he might have kicked himself in the rear.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that was probably a poor choice on it. But yeah, it's funny you should mention the TV, because that exact story happened.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. To be honest, that's not surprising. The fact that he was gloating about, like, getting that TV and then coming to you and complaining about the price of it. That makes it even sweeter. But I mean, like, you're like, why? People are all able to make their own choices though. And, and sometimes you just got to let it go at the end of the day, but it's got to be tough. Hi, welcome back, Doug. Unfortunately, you had a power outage, and now you're having to join again from your phone. Thank you. Sorry, unfortunately, that happened right at the end here. But anyway, yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to add on to the last story or question?
No, I was just going to talk about Murphy's Law. And, and hey, those things even happen on the sales floor. So
Yeah.
things go bad out there. But yeah, no, not really. Not a whole lot to add to that, really. But I kind of forgot the question, to be honest with you.
With that as what happened, it was about, small things to make the customer experience better. And anyway, but actually, you had some interesting things about, like maybe even being like having customers try to be better customers too. And I actually think that there is something to that, of like, but also just maybe even respecting that situation of like, as you're kind of coming in to get something, and knowing, obviously that these are, people not wasting their time. But then you were also telling the story there at the end about, the guy who had spent, a fair amount more on his TV than his mattress. And I think that is, yeah, hopefully not many people make that decision.
Yeah, and it unfortunately it happens all too often. But yeah, test resting mattresses. That you talk about the small things. The small things are always really big things. Maybe I have this tendency to make a mountain out of a molehill. My wife can, second. She'll probably vouch for that. But they are extremely important, and it helps them in the end. Get the correct mattress and get the one that's most comfortable and it's going to be as supportive as they expect, and maybe it doesn't disturb their partner. And I think they need to take that. They're about to spend a large chunk of money. They need to take that time and make the most of it, and research and I say only a handful of people actually walk in taking notes. Actually a pad and a paper, and that's a shame. And sometimes that's the worst customer to have, because because they're going to grill you on every little detail, and they're maybe not paying attention because they're writing everything down.
Oh yeah. As they flip back 3 pages and are like, well, at this store, I heard this, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but small things, yeah, small
Yeah.
things are big things to me, and test resting is another one of those. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I definitely I know obviously this was not ideal here at the end with you losing power. You're still lighted very well, so I will say in your house the lighting is great. And luckily, I guess it's daytime too. But anyway, hopefully you get power restored soon. Hey, there's a first for everything on this podcast, I guess.
Yeah, it's we'll see if we're going out to eat tonight, or we're gonna have to go hunting for our food, or what. But,
Well, good luck, and no matter what, Doug, I gotta say thank you so much for doing the podcast. I do. I admire all the the 5-star reviews that you have, and actually after this podcast episode, the lessons you've taken from maybe 4-star reviews too. So really, I do look to you as being a real a purveyor of not only high quality mattresses, but also really good customer service. So anyway, thanks so much for doing the podcast.
thank you, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, this has been another episode of Mix and Matchbox. I am Brent Feldman. We will be back soon with more content. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.